My name is Suzanne Trimble. I'm 28 years old, and I can tell you the exact moment my 3-year relationship ended. It wasn't the night my boyfriend stopped touching me. It wasn't the month he started guarding his phone like it contained national secrets. It wasn't even when he began canceling plans with excuses that sounded too neat, too prepared, too rehearsed. No, it ended at 6:47 a.m. on my birthday, in a 27-word text message. That morning, I stood barefoot in my half-renovated kitchen, my pride, my work in progress, my sanctuary, listening to the familiar sputter of my old coffee machine. The March sun pushed through the blinds in pale ribbons, catching on the dust still lingering from last weekend's renovation project. I bought this house 2 years ago, a foreclosure, rough around the edges, stubborn in all the wrong ways. 3 bedrooms, a sagging deck, pomp green carpet that had definitely lived through a few historical eras, and a bathroom unironically decorated like it thought the 1980s would last forever. But the bones were good, and the price was a miracle. And I'm an engineer, mechanical, manufacturing plant, the kind of job where people assume you're either brilliant or boring. The truth? I just like figuring things out. Machines make sense to me. People, not so much. My dad taught me everything about home repair long before I left for college. A woman who can fix her own leaks never has to fear being stuck, he'd say. So I ripped out carpet and laid hardwood plank by plank, gutted the lemon yellow bathroom and rebuilt it modern and crisp, replaced kitchen cabinets that smelled like someone's grandmother's attic. Every corner of this house had my sweat in it, my frustration, my satisfaction. It was messy, imperfect, but it was mine. I poured a cup of coffee and grabbed my phone, expecting birthday texts, family, maybe my best friend Tyler, and of course my boyfriend of 3 years, Nathan. 26, dental hygienist, soft-spoken, charming in his once effortless way. Instead, I unlocked my screen to this. Morning, we need to break up. I've been thinking about this for weeks. It's not working anymore. You deserve someone who wants what you want. I'm sorry. I blinked, read it again, a third time. 27 words, no call. No, can we talk? No warning. Just a verdict, dropped on my birthday morning like a bill in the mail. And here's the strangest part. The part my future self would revisit more than once. I didn't break. I didn't drop the mug. I didn't slide down the cabinet crying. I just exhaled, slowly. Because deep down, I'd already felt the rot creeping in for months. The sudden secrecy, the late nights with coworkers, the phone flips from screen up to screen down, the glazed looks when I talked about my day, the defensiveness when I asked harmless questions. All of it had been pointing towards something I didn't want to acknowledge. I typed one word. Okay. Then I blocked his number, blocked him on social media, removed him from my emergency contacts. The whole digital burial took 5 minutes. He wasn't even cold yet. By the time Tyler called at 8 a.m. with his usual booming cheer, Suzanne, birthday girl, ready for erase Nathan's presence from my phone, wasn't. Because people who walk away easily often panic when the door actually closes, and Nathan was about to start clawing at it with everything he had. The first call came less than 10 minutes after I blocked Nathan. Unknown number, then another, and another. By noon, I had declined 6 calls and blocked 3 new numbers. I wasn't surprised. Someone who ends a 3-year relationship with a 27-word text at dawn to demand an explanation, to beg for closure they never planned to give. But silence? Silence terrifies. Coworkers brought me cupcakes from the bakery near the plant, where store gift card because engineers don't know how to relax. I smiled at everyone and answered emails. On the outside, I looked fine. Inside, dinner. By Wednesday morning, the wave hit. I walked into work with my lunch bag and safety glasses. Please don't give up on me. My thumb hovered over the delete button. Then I pressed it. Listening to the whole message wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't make that birthday morning text undo itself. It wouldn't make the last 6 months of distance disappear. It wouldn't give me the relationship I once thought I had. The only thing it would do is reopen a wound I'd already decided to close. But voicemail wasn't Nathan's only tactic. That afternoon, I got a text from Tyler. Tyler. Suzanne, have you been on social media today? Me. No, why? Tyler. You might want to look. I opened my feed and saw it instantly. A photo of a rainy window pane, a caption beneath it. Sometimes you don't realize what you had until it's gone. I made a mistake that cost me the one person who mattered. If you love someone, tell them before it's too late. Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. You deserve better. You'll heal. Whoever hurt you doesn't deserve you. Stay strong, King. 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 I let out a sharp laugh. Nathan wasn't telling the world he broke up with me via text on my birthday. He framed himself as the abandoned victim, some tragic romantic hero with rain on the windowsill and regret in his heart. He wasn't apologizing, he was performing. And the audience was loving it. I didn't comment, didn't like, didn't message. Silence is a powerful language, and I was becoming fluent. 2 days later, exactly 1 week after the breakup, my doorbell rang again. This time, when I looked through the peephole, I saw two people, Nathan and Emma. A tag team intervention. I considered ignoring them, but Emma had been fair, respectful, honest, and I didn't want to burn that bridge. I opened the door, stepping just far enough into the frame that they knew the conversation wasn't happening inside. 5 minutes, I said. Nathan looked wrecked, eyes swollen, jaw tense, fingers trembling slightly. He wasn't holding flowers or another gift, just desperation. Thank you for talking to us, Emma said quietly. Nathan stepped forward. Suzanne, I messed up. I know that. I panicked. Panic. The favorite excuse of people who blow up their own lives. I crossed my arms. Okay, and? He blinked, thrown off by my tone. I was scared, he stammered. I felt pressure, commitment, plans. Everything was moving so fast. I frowned. I was the one slowing things down, Nathan. You're the one who kept talking about moving in together. I know, he whispered. I know. And I don't even understand why I did what I did. It was stupid, thoughtless, cruel. I just freaked out. Emma nodded beside him. He's been a mess, Suzanne. I've never seen him like this. I looked at Nathan, really looked. The man crying on my doorstep wasn't the same one who once held me close while we watched thunderstorms roll over the lake. This one was fragile, scattered, regretful, yes, but still impulsive, still unsteady, still unable to face consequences without spiraling. Why on my birthday? I asked softly. He flinched. Why that morning? Why then? I didn't think. I just woke up overwhelmed, and I did the worst possible thing. He met my eyes, and for a moment, I saw the truth. He hadn't broken up with me because he didn't love me. He broke up because loving me required growing up, and he wasn't ready. I'm sorry, Suzanne, he whispered. I love you. I want to fix this. My voice came out calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that only exists after a storm has passed and left nothing standing. You had weeks to talk to me. Months to tell me something was wrong. Instead, you distanced yourself, lied about work nights, hid your phone, avoided me, and then ended everything through a text before sunrise. Nathan's breath hitched. I don't want to lose you. You did lose me, I said, when you chose the easiest escape instead of the hardest conversation. Can't we start over? He asked desperately. Please, I'll do whatever it takes. No, I said. His face crumpled. Emma touched his arm, grounding him. Nathan's desperation twisted suddenly into suspicion. There's someone else, isn't there? I actually laughed, a short, humorless sound. No, Nathan, there isn't. I'm just choosing myself. Something you should have tried before choosing panic. He stood there, completely unraveling. I stepped back inside. I think you should go, I said gently. I'm sorry you're hurting, but this is over. And before either of them could respond, I closed the door. On the other side, I heard Emma whisper something soothing. I heard Nathan sob. I heard their footsteps fade. I leaned against the door and exhaled. Not because closing it hurt, but because closing it felt like the first step toward a life without chaos. A life I didn't realize I'd been craving. A life I intended to protect. Nathan's last visit to my doorstep should have felt like closure, an ending, a clean cut. But breakups, especially the messy kind, don't end neatly. They taper off, like a flame flickering in the wind before it finally dies. For the next 2 weeks, the attempts continued. Not as frantic, not as constant, but they came. A text from a new number every few days. A vague social media post that Tyler would screenshot and send to me with a... Once I saw Nathan at the grocery store, several aisles away. He looked up, startled, took a step like he wanted to approach, then saw my expression and veered his cart in the opposite direction. It wasn't peace, but it was quiet, and I was learning to breathe again. I spent those weeks differently. I woke up on Saturdays with no knots in my stomach, wondering whether Nathan would cancel our plans. I worked on sanding the cabinet doors in my kitchen until they felt smooth under my fingertips. I started running more often with Ranger, who understood emotional turbulence better than any human ever could. In the stillness, I realized something. The relationship had ended long before the text arrived. Nathan had been slipping away inch by inch, leaving behind a shell of routine and habit. I'd been holding on to memories instead of reality. Now, with no one to wait on, adjust for, or worry about, Time stretched out clean and full. And it felt good. Better than I expected. One afternoon, Tyler dropped by unannounced with sandwiches. "You seem lighter," he said, studying me carefully. "Lighter?" He nodded. "Yeah, like someone took a weight off you that you didn't know you were carrying." I thought about that. People say relationships are supposed to make your life better, easier, more supported. Mine had become another responsibility, another moving piece, another person I had to emotionally waterproof myself for. I didn't realize how tired I was, I admitted, until I wasn't anymore. Tyler grinned. "Welcome back." It was such a small thing, but it warmed me more than I expected. About 6 weeks after the breakup, the universe tossed me a surprise. I was at the hardware store, my natural habitat, standing in front of a shelf of power drills, comparing torque and battery life, when someone stood beside me. Dark hair, warm eyes, Carhartt jacket. He glanced at the same model I was holding. "You planning to rebuild a house with that thing?" he joked. I smiled. "Just a kitchen cabinet door, maybe a deck later." We started talking. It was easy, effortless, in a way nothing had felt in months. His name was Clark, 30, electrician. Owned his own truck, his own business, and, judging by the way he talked about wiring, a deeply unnecessary level of affection for voltage systems. "What about you?" he asked. "DIY or professional troublemaker?" "Mechanical engineer," I said. His eyebrows lifted. "Respect. You're like 5 steps above me in the brains department." I laughed. "Trust me, not with math." He picked up a drill and handed it to me. "This one. Battery lasts longer." I raised a brow. "And what makes you the expert?" "Well," he said, shrugging modestly, "my ex-girlfriend hated that I spent more time fixing things than watching Netflix. I learned to choose tools wisely." I filed that away. A man mentioning an ex casually, not defensively, not dramatically, was surprisingly refreshing. We exchanged numbers, not the "I'll text you sometime" kind, the real kind. Our first date was dinner at a quiet place with good pasta and terrible lighting. Our second was a walk with Ranger by the lake. Our third was him showing me how to fix a misaligned hinge on my deck door, rolling up his sleeves and working beside me like we'd done it for years. It wasn't a whirlwind, it wasn't fireworks. It was steady, warm, safe. The kind of beginning that doesn't need intensity to feel real. I didn't tell Tyler until date number 4. He nearly dropped his drink. "Suzanne Trimble is dating again? And you didn't tell me you were alive again?" "Calm down," I said, rolling my eyes. "It's not serious yet." "Well, I like him already. Any guy who can handle you talking about machine torque for 30 minutes is a keeper." I shoved him lightly, but I couldn't deny the warmth blooming in my chest. I wasn't rushing, wasn't dreaming up futures, just letting life happen at its own pace. It felt good not to brace myself for disappointment. 3 months after the breakup, something unexpected happened. Tyler convinced me to attend a friend's barbecue. Low drama, he promised. No surprises. He lied, not intentionally, but fate doesn't care about promises. When we walked into the backyard, I froze. Nathan was there, with Emma. His eyes widened the moment he saw me. Mine didn't. I just nodded politely and kept walking. No tension, no drama, just 2 people existing in the same space after a storm that had already passed. I stood with Tyler, talking about fishing trips, summer plans, furnace repairs, anything but the man watching me from the shade of a maple tree. I didn't approach him. He didn't approach me. And that in itself was closure. After about an hour, I decided to leave. I had work early the next morning, and Ranger needed dinner. As I walked toward the driveway, Emma caught up with me. "Hey," she said softly, "thanks for being civil." "Of course," I said. "There's nothing left to fight about." She hesitated. Then, "For what it's worth, Nathan's seeing someone, a woman from his dental office." "Good," I said genuinely. "I hope it works out." "You really mean that?" "Yes. We weren't right for each other. Better to figure that out before marriage or kids complicate everything." Emma gave a sad little smile. "You're handling this better than either of us did." "Take care of him," I said simply. She nodded. "And you take care of yourself." That was the last meaningful moment tied to that chapter of my life. Now, 4 months later, my house is nearly finished. My promotion at work kicked in. My relationship with Clark is slow, steady, thoughtful. Tyler loves him. Even Ranger approves, his ultimate test. And me? I'm not bitter, not angry, not grieving. Just older, wiser, quieter in the ways that matter, stronger in the ones I didn't know I needed. Some relationships end with explosions, some end with silence. Mine ended with a text message that hurt more in theory than in reality.